Content warning. The following video may contain content harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Hey guys, what's going on? Back to do another comment reply video. There may be some smaller ones mixed in, but these are going to be the longer comments. Shangel Thunder wrote, I've already vowed either I'm destroying evil or I'm at least doing nothing to help it. I won't take part in... Didn't I already read this comment? Or maybe I'm wrong. Nor condone this reality or society as much as humanity possible. Or as much as humanly possible, I'm sorry. Other than trying not to starve to death, I refuse to take part in any way other than war against the elites, elitism, the realm, and the matrix itself. Yeah, amen. Against anything that's a part of its system. There's no worthy incentives or experiences this realm has to offer me. Definitely nothing distracting enough to make me forget what this place is and what needs to be done about it. Even for just a second, destruction of every level of this matrix is the only true answer. Even if this was base reality and this was all there is, the answer would still be the same, destruction. Yeah, well, if we can't change it, then I would agree with that, but I feel like it could be changed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I never see humanity try to do something better. Well, you know, I've seen humanity come together, but I will say nothing ever actually happens. He wrote, what shouldn't exist, even if it's all there is, even if that all includes me. I agree with that, yeah. If the world and everything about it and this existence is all just pure evil and hell and blah, 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 yeah, then I agree. It should be destroyed, even if that includes destroying myself. Because what is the point of things just having a negative existence? What is the point of doing that to them over and over again? This place gotta go wrote, thinking there's no way out of here is defeatist thinking. I wouldn't recommend it. On the show topic that I didn't reply back to. That's a good point. I mean, honestly, if you think there is no way out of here, then that does sort of put your belief is a very big deal. Belief's the most important thing, especially when your soul essence, I think. Again, I don't know this, just my opinion based on what I feel like is me leaving the body when I meditate. On the shill topic that I didn't reply back to, I think anyone who gets spotlight in the media can automatically be viewed as shill, whether or not they were a shill from the start. Nobody gets to speak to the public and say what they want to say. It's all controlled. Dude, actually, this is a weird fear of mine that and this weird, I know this sounds bizarre, but, and I don't know why it jumped in my head. Oh, because he was talking about, okay, one of my weird fears is that my channel does get big. Like, it's this weird fear I have that, I don't know, maybe I'm going to make a video one time, because I've heard people say that in other YouTube videos where, like, their channel just stays small until one video, for some reason, one video gets really big. I fear that actually I'm not worried about people hearing my message. I don't give a fuck. Actually, the more that hear it, the better, in my opinion, because it's not a popular opinion, and it should be argued. But what was the point that I was trying to make? Oh yeah, like if my channel got big, then I would think like, and I mean like big, like where, like, I don't know, the biggest truthers out there wanted to have a conversation with me or something like that. Like, I would be afraid to be not in that position, physically, not mentally. Like, I feel like I could handle it without being manipulated by the mind virus, but I don't know if I would want to be in those shoes, you know what I'm saying? Because that comes with a lot of weight with it. And I would think, am I then in danger to be even more attacked or focused on by the mind virus? That's one of my fears, kind of, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that if my channel grew big, then it's like, oh shit, now I'm definitely super target as a total, attack this guy by the mind virus target. You know what I'm saying? Like, instantly. But I would say there are other people, and I'm sure they are dealing with the mind virus because of who they are, but there are other people in the truth community who I consider like pioneers in the truth community. Like Eric Dubé, I would say, is a main one. I mean, he made Flat Earth pretty popular. I would say then he would be heavily attacked by the mind virus. But he seems to be doing okay. He makes decent content, uploads videos all the time, and he seems like he's got his shit together. So either he's mentally very powerful, maybe he's aware of the mind virus, I don't know. Maybe he knows how to deal with it well. Maybe he's completely controlled by it, and it's just does a good job of convincing people like me that he's a good guy. I don't think that that's it, but because of the content he still puts out. He's talking about the same shit that I am on his channel now. It's not just Flat Earth. He talks about this potentially being a soul trap too. But yeah, it's funny because there's a competitive part of my brain that's like, well, bring it then, you little fuckboy. Like, there's actually a competitive part of my brain that's like, nah, I wish my shit did get big, motherfucker, because what are you going to do about it anyways? To like the mind virus. It's like, fuck you. I wish you would try to play with me, boy, so I can remind you you're just a whisperer. You can try to manipulate, and I know every little technique that it uses, but all it is the manipulator. It's just the whisper. Actually, there was a line in My Big Fat Greek Wedding where the mother had said to her daughter, sweetheart, the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck, and the neck controls where the head goes, and blah blah. I looked at that as like an Archon fucking line, like for real, because the Archon just a whisper. Like, we're actually the decision makers. The Archon mind virus can just whisper, but that's all it can. Like, we're still ahead of it technically on the food chain. Now, if we're unaware of it, we go into our little stupid slumber like we're in right now. It's very powerful. It can control the whole of humanity. But in actual reality, it's just a little whisper, pussy boy. And I understand that it whispers through other people. I understand all that. I understand how it could affect me and blah, blah. It's still just this little fucking pussy boy compared to us fucking gods. They're the real decision makers in the realm that give our ass up to the entity because it has seemed to have grown in power. This Place Gotta Go wrote, if you or anyone is still unsure about OPs, aka organic portals, I highly recommend the YouTuber Winnie McEwen and the vid she has made called Organic Portals. I think I've seen that within your family. Yeah, she might come off a little bit crazy at first, but I don't fully agree. Actually, my last reply video, I called in when one of the little mind parasites showed up. One just showed up again. You may have heard the pop. It sounds like electricity in the air. And then I feel something, like the presence of something. Your family, yes, she might come off as a little bit crazy at first, and I don't fully agree with her other views on Ascension. I agree with, if it's the lady I'm thinking about with the curly hair, I agree with most of what she said. Etc. But that vid in particular describes our problem very well. Yeah, I think I've seen that, This Place Gotta Go. Brownstone Bear wrote, I feel you, brother. You ever seen the movie called The Watchmen? I think I did. Basically, there's two characters in that bitch that move me. Manhattan is a god and forgets his humanity. He can literally create his own world and sets meditating in it, void of all life forms. Nothing can capture or destroy him. And then you have my favorite, Rorschach, when he gets thrown into prison for destroying a predator. He says, I'm not in here with you, you're all in here with me. Okay, I did see that movie, I remember that. He was like, he wore like tights and stuff. He forces Manhattan to destroy him in the end because they took out a huge chunk of humanity and wanted to gloss over it. And Rorschach wasn't going to go along with that lie, not ever. Integrity forever, brother. Yeah, I'm probably very much like that guy. Integrity forever, absolutely. And what's funny, I could say it's just easy to have integrity, but it's really not in this reality, not with the mind virus. sometimes you have to go back against your own embedded genetic impulses, in quotes. Okay, Shengel commented, around 22 minutes in, you're talking about killing a demon or whatever we want to call it. Based on my experience with similar situations and specifically the emotional connection you had with this entity, it sounds like something you might have created within your own mind and then eventually grew beyond to the point of killing it. It was basically incapable of feeding off you and began starving, making it unable to do whatever it was created to do. Some people would call it a negative egregore, negative servitor, demon, shadow, and or something along those lines. It could be some type of external algorithm, but it sounds much more personal than that. Sometimes they'll love you like an abusive spouse loves someone they never want to leave them. An abusive spouse loves someone they never want to leave them, and because we can create things with from our own negative thought patterns, it's a representation of us making it that much harder to get rid of. Killing it is necessary, but it can still hurt. Yeah, it definitely hurt. It bothered me. Jordy Kellogg wrote, if I understand you correctly, you're meaning the mind virus as a spiritual, other dimensional density level sort of thing. Yeah, sort of an extra dimensional being. We can't see, but it can affect us. It literally comes around like an entity that has to travel, I guess you could say. Maybe they use portals. I don't know any of that. I just know that I can sense the presence of these things. And they're like electrical beings. But yeah, they're like little magicians, to be honest. Like they can cause you to lose your train of thought. They can get you to mess up, stutter. They can cause you to have a headache. They could constantly barrage you with the same repeating thought loops. Just get you to focus on negativity. That person said this. I wonder what they've really been. It'll get you to just think stupid shit, conflict type shit. It's for me, it's super obvious when they show up. Even if I couldn't feel them, I would notice them immediately. I'm sorry, he wrote. Yeah, they're like extra dimensional beings or something. Or maybe they're in our dimension, but we just don't understand them. They're like made of electricity and they can teleport and stuff and like feed off negativity. They don't like to be around positivity. He wrote, if so, I'm in agreement with you, and I'm curious if you have ever heard of Toxoplasm gondii? No, I have no idea what the hell that is. Toxoplasm gondii. I'm going to search that in Google and look at it later. But he wrote, it's apparently a parasite in that affect cats and mice. It's interesting in the mechanism the parasite uses to keep itself alive through the cycles of life and death of the hosts. I've seen other known parasites that act similarly. That's been observed in animals. Take a think on it if you haven't yet, and let me or us know what you think, dude. That was something actually, that reminded me of an old What If, Jordy, where I'd said, oh, by the way, guys, all my old videos just disappeared off of my hard drive for some reason. Just disappeared off my hard drive. My old hard drive, when I rehooked it up and went in to get the files, I was going to start uploading like old videos, all gone. Everything's there, except when I go into the videos folder where all my videos were saved, they're not there. It's empty. I'm like, what the fuck? Everything else on the whole hard drive's there. Just where my videos were completely erased. So it's like, that sucks. See, all my old videos are gone. But anyways, again, it's not too big of a deal to me because I kind of wanted to redo my channel anyways. It was not making sense anymore. But I did have a lot of old videos I would like to have uploaded. But anyways, it is what it is. Fucking, yeah, what if I had was that the elites were infested with parasites, and that's what's wrong with them. Because I was talking about like parasites that alter the mind, or even certain parasites in your belly can alter your mind because they'll call for sugar, they'll call for a craving, they'll cause you to have a craving. And there's this other parasite, and it gets in people's brains and it feeds off adrenaline. So it makes them think that they're an adrenaline junkie, and they go out and do crazy shit to feed the adrenaline. And a lot of these people die doing stupid shit. I mean, when you're doing 130 on the fucking highway in a wheelie position, like, dude, you're kind of asking for a bad situation to happen, but unbeknownst to them, This doctor, I remember there was a doctor, and he just kind of pieced it up and said he started looking at people that died in high intensity adrenaline situations like that, and every single one of them had this parasite. And it's like, man, this little bug got them killed. A little bug got them killed because of what it wanted or whatever. It's just crazy when you think about it. But I said maybe the elites were infested with some sort of weird, because you think about like they drink baby blood, like what, like the old parasites dying because the old avatar blood isn't healthy enough anymore. They got to like drink baby blood, like weird parasites. And it was just, I don't know, dude, anything's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, if there is some sort of parasite that infects the minds of humans, that would make a lot of sense. It would explain away the NPC thing. It would explain away the bizarre behavior of the elites, depending on what the parasites wanted. You know, some faculty type shit. You guys remember that movie? I liked that movie when I was growing up. I seen that about 100 times. Archon's Illustrated wrote, I would add that the underscript that was mind virus now turned to underscript is a weapon against the Archons. Let your mantra or underscript be something short, true, and direct. Needs to be those things because on the astral plane, things get amplified real fast and there's no time to adapt. Needs to be true because if it ain't, Archons win right there. I made all that loose, so in any world, maker is owner, therefore my mantra is true. It's short and it red lights my soul to the danger at hand. I can then be prepared for the life review. I have weapons for that too. What? Okay, so... Oh, okay. Archon's Illustrated commented actually in the last video about weapons against them, and I had said, oh, well, actually, I haven't uploaded that video yet. So he's actually saying something that I asked him to say. I think I said in the video, go ahead and give us like an idea, because he said he had weapons against Archons or something. So he's saying that mantras and stuff like that are weapons against the Archons. Sure, I guess they could be to a degree. Yeah, why not? Why did I refresh this? I'm sorry, guys. This page is actually acting very strange. I don't understand what's going on. Let me refresh this, guys. I'm sorry. T-Fetch wrote, Halloween, I want out. Verse 1, from our lives beginning on, we are pushed in little forms. No one asks us how we like to be in school. They teach you what you think, but everyone says different things, but they're all convinced that they're the ones to see. The pre-chorus, so they keep talking and they never stop, and at a certain point you give it up. So the only thing that's left to think is this. I want out to live my life alone. I want out, leave me be. I want out to do things on my own. I want out to live my life and be free. Well, okay, that sounds great, T, but the only thing that, okay, these are my fears, is that I get out and I am all that there is. Now, let's say I completely escape the Matrix. Is every person I experience an aspect of my own mind? That's a scary thought. And then I thought, well, isn't that what I think God is? Like, a lot of times I would say God, that we are fragments of original consciousness. Because all we actually are at the end of the day is consciousness. Like, we're just like this awareness thing. But I thought, if we're all one, and this is the mind of God, then God's miserable. Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Or, I mean, I would think, I don't know. I would think, I don't want to be all by myself completely. I want to coexist with loving, caring, but it's like in spirit, I'm told now, man, everything's the enemy. All you got yourself, but it's like, man, that sucks too. But anyways, verse 2, he wrote, people tell me A and B. They tell me how I have to see things that I have seen already clear. So they push me then from side to side. They're pushing me from black to white. They're pushing till there's nothing more to hear. Pre-course again, but I don't know why I'm calling out the pre-course. I didn't call it the core, but he wrote, but don't push me to the maximum. Shut your mouth and take it home, because I decided the way things gonna be. I want out to live my life alone. I want out, leave me be. I want out to do things on my own. I want out to live my life and to be free. And then he wrote, there's a million ways to see the things in life, a million ways to be the full, million ways. In the end, none of us is right. Sometimes we need to be alone, alone, alone. That's an interesting song. And then he says, no, leave me alone. To live my life alone, I want out. And then he says that part again, to live and be free on my own. And what was that? Halloween, I want out. I never heard of a band called Halloween. Solstice wrote, I always enjoy your videos. Thank you, Solstice. I always relate to many things you say. I really like the word wizardry because I'm very much into etymology. And in your video recently, you were talking about schizophrenia, and then you mentioned dementia. I gotta put my camera in another place. This is actually difficult on this new setup, but we're talking about schizophrenia, and then you mentioned dementia, and for the first time, the word dementia, and it immediately clicked that dementia sounds like dimension. What you think about that one? I don't know, but one of the little energy fuckboys shut up again. He popped off of the screen that time. What you think about that one? Interesting, right? Yeah, I've thought about dementia, dimension. I said, I wonder if people with dementia are actually in another dimension most of the time. And what we end up seeing, the version of them we see, is a person that's stuck in the past and blah, blah, blah. But that's just what the avatar is capable of doing now, that they've actually graduated and gone off to like their own dimensions. And I think, potentially people in crazy homes or whatever are the same. Like, we just see somebody sitting there like talking to the wall, but they may, as a spirit entity, have already graduated this realm and moved on to something else. Give me one sec, guys. I'm going to have to do something with my camera because this is loading in different looking for some reason. One sec. Okay, there we go, my loves. That's much better. He wrote, I already responded to that. Infinite Corridors wrote, hey Chris, thanks for sharing another excellent and insightful video. You're welcome. Carlos Castaneda referred to the Archons as the Flyers, and he explained in his books how the ancient Toltec shamans could see these beings flying from treetop to treetop at dusk and dawn in the olden days. I see them too, but they look like sort of like smoke to me, like smoke or silvery, grayish, the same color smoke they look like. And I'll see them like move through the air right near me. I guess you could call them the Flyers. They seem to come in from the ceilings, the walls. Absolutely. He's telling the truth, Mr. Carlos Castaneda. He wrote, this was actually the like I said, the first book ever given to me. My brother Tom gave me a Carlos Castaneda book. I wasn't a reader, but he thought I would be interested in it, but I just can't do it, guys. I'm not a reader. He wrote, so they would see these things jumping around from the treetops. That's interesting. At dusk and dawn in the old days. In one of his books, he explained how the Flyers are also known as the foreign installation, and that these entities gave us their minds, in quotes. He also explained how the ancient Toltec warriors learned that the only way for a human to become free from the influence of these negative parasitic entities is to practice silencing the mind for long periods of time. I would agree with that 10,000%. And then the Flyers / Archons wouldn't be able to siphon any of that human's energy, and they would leave them alone. I think they watch us like the same way. I really think that they watch us like we would go to a movie theater and watch a movie. I think that that's a potential crazy what if, because they're these entities that come around, sort of live through us. They know every thought we have. They can bring up any negative thought you've ever had and rub it in your face. Every rotten thing you've ever done, as Dr. Marzinski would say. They're interesting entities, but they can seem to know everything about you and sort of live through you and even affect you. It's interesting. It's like, what are we, a fucking video game to some sort of other entity? Like, we're just a plaything to something else? He wrote, he claimed that when a human being learned to silence his mind and defend himself in this way, that after the flyer being left the human alone, an energy shield would come up over the top of the human's feet excuse me, and shield him from the entities because the human's energy field had returned to wholeness and a perfect healthy form. Okay. Maybe I should meditate. He wrote, I find all the, well, actually, maybe not yet. Like, again, I'm still learning a little bit. So he wrote, that's interesting. Okay, well, so far, everything this dude said up until that point, I have no experience with. Maybe I'll try, but I guess living in love is silent. Okay, I'll say this to Carlos Castaneda. Living in love is silencing the mind. You don't have to silence the mind. You have, because that's impossible. You have to live in love. That's what I would say to Mr. Castaneda. If you live in love, the thing that causes the mind to not be silenced goes away. Because it can't exist in love. The best way to silence the mind is to live in love. There's no such way to silence the mind. Well, I guess but you'd have to meditate. It would take years, well, some people years of practice, I would say. He wrote, I find all of this interesting personally because after meditating nearly every day for more than 11 years, I've developed the ability to silence my mind for essentially as long as I feel like it, and I haven't had to deal with much archonic influence for a while now. Yeah, you'd think like if you were a theater and things needed to be entertained by you because they, in quotes, feed off the louche, then that would make sense because you're just boring to watch. Let's watch a movie where this guy just sits here. You know what I'm saying? They would go away. That's a weird what if, but it's starting to make a lot of sense that we are sort of observed by something else and played with to a degree. Played with like a fucking video game. Influenced by, you could say. If you don't want to say played with, influenced by. Anyway, I mean, when you look at the things about reality sort of being like a simulation and like the Mandela effect and how it can just like things can change like a simulation, it's just weird. But he wrote, I rarely hear the hyperdimensional jumping pop noises around me anymore these days, and when I do, my mind remains quiet and I remain with an internal sense of peace and calm. It sounds like you're already living in love, Infinite Corridors. Are you? I don't know. He wrote, I went through multiple hardcore stages of immense fear and paranoia and anxiety and panic for several years as I realized what was happening with these entities and the mental manipulations. I had on occasion days and weeks where I could peacefully meditate because of the sense of fear and dread I would feel when dealing with these demons. Okay, then I can relate to that. That's actually what I was about to say. Was that when I meditate now, I have this sort of fear that I'm opening myself up to these things, and I don't want to take that chance. Again, plus I said I'm sort of learning a little bit right now, but you're at this slide, just how they operate, the way they are, like it's fascinating to me. It's I guess. To be honest, it may freak other people out. I mean, there were moments where I thought it was kind of weird and this and that, but I've actually gotten so used to what I would call weird at this point. It's actually just fascinating. But anyways, he wrote, I had on occasion days and weeks where I couldn't peacefully meditate because of the sense of fear and dread. Okay, I read that. Of dealing with it. This life experience has been hardcore and mostly non-pleasant since I can remember. Anyways, thanks again. Absolutely. I have some of these internal fears as well. That was a great comment, Infinite Corridors. Mo Sampson wrote, that's very interesting. Time to revisit Carlos Castaneda. A future recluse wrote, yep, you are a wise dude. We are all here, like Chris is saying. What we really are after dealing with this fucking place. How tough we are in actuality. La Castaneda. We got to regrow our glowing coat, as he said. Think of how awesome we actually are. Yeah, like... Don't forget what you are. Maybe that's why I feel a level of comfort dealing with entities. And I was just like, well, I just know that they're nothing at the end of the day. Not to me, not compared to me. They're just little noises and parlor tricks and whispers in ears of, weak-minded individuals. The fuck is that compared to me? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, anyways. Remember what you are. You became aware in a reality created by it so that it could feed off of you. Meaning not only was the reality designed for you to fuck up at it, your avatar that you're plugged into was fucked up for you to fail at this fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? And you still woke up to its bullshit. You're something special. I don't know what to call it. And this reality probably wouldn't have a label or crown or place for somebody like that, because they don't want that to be viewed as something positive. That's a place to ascend to. Lozy Crazy wrote, abusers get that demonic look too. I spent many years under it and it made my mind. Okay, dude, people are like, I mentioned this in the other reply video I did, like how, well, I'm going to finish what he's saying. Where was that? I spent many years under it and it made my mind adapt to it in order to withstand it. I was a child, but damn, it is a process of clearing that could take someone a lifetime if they get lost in it or simply fall in love with he armor built from pain. I don't really understand it. Lifetime if they lost in it or simply fall in love with the armor built TS from pain. I don't know what that means. I do know what he means from pain. I don't really understand the TS, but he wrote the other cop that you said sort of looked at him. Oh, okay, I see what he's talking about. I'm sorry, guys. This one's confusing, but damn, it's a process of clearing that could take someone a lifetime. If they get lost in it or simply fall in love with the armor built, it's from the pain. Okay, the other cop that you said sort of looked at him, but still did nothing. That's the same with a family member seeing the narcissistic abusers, but still aligning with the wave function of the abuse, even to the point they will acknowledge the victim. They will not acknowledge the victim. Like we created blind spots. Oh, I've seen people do that before, actually, what you're saying. Like literally ignore a person that's yelling at them or talking to them, saying, why are you saying this or that? And like literally not acknowledging them. All right, guys, back for the continuation of the comment replies. Let me check the gain. Why does that look so low? It doesn't look low. That's fine. Back for the comment replies. I'm actually continuing this from like a day and a half later, so I'm just going to read what's from the top to the bottom. I don't know if I'm catching on where I left off. Lozy Crazy wrote, abusers get that demonic look too. I spent many years under it and it made my mind adapt to it in order to withstand it. I was a child, but damn, it is a process of clearing that could take someone a lifetime if they get lost in it or simply fall in love with the armor built from the pain. Oh, I already did this comment. Actually, I'm pretty sure. I already read this comment. This is where I left off. Okay, maybe I'm continuing this comment. And the other cop that you said sort of looked at him but still did nothing, that's the same with a family member seeing the narcissistic abusers but still aligning with the wave function of the abuse, even to the point they will not acknowledge the victim. Like we create blind spots subconsciously if we don't take the steps to face it. Yeah, I remember responding to this. Whatever reality is present, and this is happening all over the earth right now. People are possessed by aspects of themselves that built thought forms over their circle sees it. Or I'm sorry, over time of themselves that build thought forms over time. The power of that possession fucks up everything around them, and it's not by choice, but when their circle sees it. But it's that quantum observable wave that presents the opportunity to others, and when ignored, amplifies the jail we are in. Like a body jumping parasite, cops do the same shit. They'll know fucked up shit happens and stay around it, and in no time they're a part of the chain, friend groups, all of it. Yeah, pretty much. He wrote, Shangel Thunder wrote, if you ask me, entropy was not purposely coded into the system. Entropy does not help the entities, algorithm, archons, etc. They have to constantly repair and siphon energy to keep doing their job. As a matter of fact, the algorithms are always fixing what entropy breaks. Laugh out loud. There's algorithms that do exactly that. While entropy breaks down the system trying to end it, the algorithms use what's broken as part of the next creation, such as a dead body feeding the soil, plants and insects, or a supernova, star death leading to the creation of new stars, etc. It's an ingenious way to turn the destruction into a cycle of restoration, aka recycling. It would be much more easier for the enemy if the matrix was perfectly stable and they could simply focus all of their... Dude, one of my fears is that, like, this is the best that God could do. Like, this
weird sort of monotony suffering system, like that this is the best that the consciousness could do to make into a physical realm. I mean, I just don't know how that's possible. I don't think it would be so stupid to do it a realm like this, but that's potentially true, that maybe this is the best that this God could muster up, is the way that the reality is. And there's a lot of things we don't think about, like, the reality resetting. These things wouldn't be that important to us if we went through 10,000 different simulations, well, probably an infinite amount of different simulations, and always had problems every time, and this is the best one that we could come up with, is the way it is now. Just sort of, that would suck. 'Cause it's like, man, this is the pinnacle of existence, would be this Dookie Boy realm. Anyways, they could simply focus all their resources on pushing their, I don't think I read this. He wrote, it would be much easier for the enemy if the matrix was perfectly stable and they could simply focus all their resources on pushing their agenda forward, but they can't. They must deal with the entropy before it starts creating exploits, broken code that we can take advantage of. This is why this entire matrix runs on cycles of creation, destruction, and recycling. It creates, we destroy, it recycles. It has no choice but to do this because our presence alone causes it to always be in a state of decay. We are powerful. If we stop helping it and start hurting it, we'd see just how ridiculously overpowered we actually are. That's exactly why it uses our own power against us and uses us to contain each other. We are uber powerful, but the mind virus is unbelievably intelligent and adaptive. It finds ways to keep the masses engaged in its continued manifestation. If you ask me, even the so-called Big Bang was actually a destructive act rather than a creative act. What scientists call the Big Bang was actually the attempted destruction of this realm, but the consciousness of this realm used that destruction as a reset, a great reset, pun intended. So instead of it being truly destroyed, it just started rebuilding itself so it could begin to carry out its missions once again, like an artificial intelligence fixing its own broken code, trying to rebuild itself back to what it was before it was almost completely destroyed. We are the entropy. We are the chaos disrupting the order. Yeah, we are. We are. If it is the way that I think it is, yeah, we are the opposite of what the reality would want around. So we're the virus. We're the, bad code. Something's wrong with us, according to the norm of the system. He wrote, our consciousness causes the symptom to continually break down as it tries to reset us contained, so it has to continuously fix itself through manifestation. Remember, manifesting here is literally nothing but code coming into existence. Whether it's you manifesting or whether it's the realm or the matrix, it's all being manifested here. The goal is to de-manifest this realm and de-manifest this matrix, not to manifest our best lives within it. Amen, dude. Actually, lately, like a lot of the channels I'm subscribed to are really going hardcore down the comfort zone path of, oh, my life can get better if I just manifest positive stuff. And it's like, well, first off, it just seems narcissistic. It's like it's about you and your situation. It's like, no, the realm is fucked up. Like, we should probably be doing what he's saying here, like de-manifest this motherfucker or do something. Not just, no, but if you think positive, your life will get better. But you're still having a life in the soul trap matrix fucking system that we all see as evil and deceptive. What are y'all talking about? You guys have lost your minds? I'm sorry, he wrote, the goal is to increase the entropy within this system, not to decrease it. The more stable this system is, the more stable our imprisonment is. And I think that they're targets, a lot of them, unbeknownst to them, unless they're also aware of the mind virus. They don't realize. Me too. It affects me every day. Every day I'm sort of learning more about it, battling it. It's not as dumb as I thought it was. Uses what we call the ego back against us constantly. I'm sorry, one sec. He wrote, the more stable the system is, the more stable our imprisonment is. The more entropy introduced to the prison, the more destruction the prison incurs. If we can raise the entropy fast enough, we could cause enough damage to the system itself, making it irreparable. I don't know why my brain froze up on that. Irreparable. As long as it can manifest itself faster than we can destroy it, it will always exist. Once we're able to destroy it faster than it can manifest itself, that's when we start to win. So if the masses of conscious minds within this realm and matrix actually stop trying to manifest their best lives and started focusing on destroying the realm, the matrix instead, we could actually start winning. This is a great comment he wrote. But since they always want to just manifest their best lives and try to be as comfortable and happy as possible, amen, coping the best way they can, the slave matrix continues. Yeah, it's like, you want to find a better life in the fucking... it's disgusting to me. I don't know, it's weird. But I can't blame them for wanting to be comfortable. Like, you're programmed that way. You're actually not programmed to constantly deal with the truth on a second-to-second basis. That would drive most people insane. So I understand their lack of mental fortitude. He wrote, because it uses them to help co-create its reality. Yes, it does, doesn't it? Like, if you plug back into that, this is a great comment. He wrote, folks need to focus much more on destruction than creation in here. This is war, not happy go fun time. Even our creations should be all about destroying this matrix, not adding something to it, just to make it more fun or easier to cope with. That was a great comment. This is actually, what he just said, I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like I said, I've been seeing other channels like, with that bullshit, and it's just like, man, what are y'all talking about? You guys want to have a happy little life in the matrix fucking soul trap system? Obviously demonic and evil realm. Obviously, man, you don't have to have 2 fucking brain cells to see that. You want to have a happy life here in this sewage pit of creation where souls suffer constantly? It's just like, what the fuck are we talking? As long as my green yard is fenced in and, I know my little area's fine. Ooh, it's like, you're fucking weak. I'm sorry. Shingo Thunder wrote, you're not weak. You're normal, actually. You're more of a normal human than I am, probably. But Shingo Thunder wrote, when you hear the popping, focus your mind and intention on trapping them in the room with you. I do this all the time, Shingo. I sort of torment them. Then start absorbing. I've never tried absorbing them, but he wrote, if they're there to feed on or manipulate you, make them prey. I go, in my mind's eye, Shingo, I go, come here, little creature. Come to the light with me real quick. And I start going towards them, and they run. That's it. That's all. That's it. I forgive them immediately. I love them, and I go, come here, buddy. Come on. And they're like, they run. They don't like being around people that are happy or in a loving, appreciative, thankful, happy type of state. They just don't like that. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying let the realm change who you are. If you're an empathetic, good-hearted, all the words I just used, type of human, don't let the realm change you. But you should still be brutally honest with what's observable. If they're there to feed on or manipulate you, make them your prey. Like hyenas stepping into a cage with the wrong line. I do this all the time. He wrote, feast, savor it, let it power you and talk your shit. Let them know if they show up, they will only be powering you. It's funny you're saying all this. This is interesting. I do all this shit, Shane. It's weird that you're saying that, but that's just the way it came to me naturally. Like when I started dealing with them, once I became fully aware of them, whatever them is, the mind parasite, these entities that influence and change the direction of human behavior, just interesting. Through our own minds too, and then we have these complicated things called ego and all this other stuff that isn't us, but it's us, and it's just like, that's our best way to explain away what's happening with the mind virus. I'm sorry, in a scientific kind of way. It's like, come on. Anyways, I torment them. I talk shit to them, like everything you said here. I do it, in a nice way. He wrote, and on another note, if I'm being honest, I'm not in a completely loving state. There is some vindictiveness with me, but I guess my heart's still in a loving state, even though I know damn well that if I got close enough to that thing, I would melt it. And I do want to get close to it. I want to hurt these things, but they're little pussy boys. Like everything that's evil in the realm. It's a little pathetic fucking gnat, a little fucking mosquito. He wrote, and on another note, yes, we do create entities, not all of them, Many of them were already here. Many of them are created by the Matrix and this particular realm itself. But we absolutely create entities with our thought processes, almost always by accident. This is also something I've been thinking about lately. This is interesting. Humanity. Another comment said something like that about a mind egregore or something. Like 2 days ago, I read on one of the comment reply videos, and I was like, dude, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Because, like, did I create them in those moments, or I think they attached to me in those moments? Because, well, I guess if you created them, they still could travel. Because I can sense the traffic of these things, and they come and go, like as if they have to travel. So it's like, if I created it, is it traveling out to do shit on like its own mind now? Or I mean, I don't know, but no, I think that they were, because every time one of these attached to me was in a traumatic situation. Or what? I guess that would make sense, wouldn't it? Or I don't know. Yeah, I guess that would make sense psychologically. In a traumatic situation is where you would create a. But yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, they could be self-created little entities. I denounce all self-created egregores, entities that I've created. I break all contracts with such things. I break all agreements. I break all likeness. I want nothing to do with any mind egregore I have ever created. Ever. Period. Now, if I had the power to create them in traumatic situations, I should have the power to denounce them. Still alive. I haven't left this traumatic situation. He wrote, humanity creates a lot of its own slave masters. I'm thinking this may be why those entities could only speak English. Maybe they were created that way purposely and accidentally by modern English-speaking humans. I choose to create servitors that help my agenda and destroy or devour any entities that I accidentally create with my own negative thoughts. So I thought the only thing that makes sense to me in my mind that some of them can't speak other languages, because I've heard that from multiple people too. This wasn't just on Dr. Marzinski. I used to be really into this kind of shit. Well, I mean, I still am, but I mean, I used to watch videos, like tons of videos with people with like schiz disorder, any mental disorder. I love that shit. So I've heard these stories several times. I mean, these are the things that stick when I hear stories like that. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I noticed the patterns and blah, blah. But I thought maybe the only thing that makes sense is that they're disembodied spirits. That doesn't explain why they're always evil, though, because then there would still be some nice people. There'd still be some nice ones that are like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so kind, you're so sweet. They wouldn't be telling you, you know, the dumb shit and getting you to focus on negativity and blah, blah, blah. They are always negative. Any schizophrenic will tell you the voices are negative. And the only time that they were ever nice to them, it was only to later sort of get them in the end anyways, to be negative. So it was like they were playing them. These things have the ability to predict behavior, predict the future. Anyways, agenda and destroy, I choose to create servitors to help my agenda and destroy or devour entities. Oh, I'll do that later. I'll make a few new egregores to devour the old ones and to go out and do stuff for me, you know, like go and I don't know, make my life easier or something, do something good. Agenda and destroy or devour any entities that I accidentally created with my own negative thoughts. I create entities that eat other entities. We can all do this. I don't know if you read all my comments from 2 to 3 videos ago, the video where I left the book long comments, laugh out loud. If you go read all those comments, I break that down pretty thoroughly. You know, actually, now I'm thinking about this, I probably should be reading this from bottom to top. That would make more sense instead of top to bottom, because I'm actually going backwards in time by doing that. So, whoa, I've got comments that are 2 months old that I haven't looked at yet. My goodness. Okay, Mirror Reflections wrote, okay, this thing's all fucking bugged out and weird looking. One sec, guys. Mirror Reflection wrote, and Tor, he wrote Tor, T-O-R, and Tor, T-O-R-E, also has a huge link to Taurus. Taurus, that's interesting. Electromagnetically, we exist as Taurus fields, and all the bull symbolism links directly to Taurus, obviously. These word webs can show to anyone exactly what this place is if you know the key and how to use it. And then Dick Fingerhammer responded back, notice the Tor us. Yeah, amen. Like, all right, and then, yeah, Tor us. We're all a bunch of Tor us's. Like, what the fuck? T-Fetch wrote, okay, what if this is where my mind is at? I may be a bit scatterbrained and difficult to follow, but I get tired of writing long shit for it to be eaten by YouTube and trying to remember everything and where everything was as far as laying this out here for anyone. Anyway, how's the vibe with you all? Placebos and nocebos. If thinking or believing something does some sort of change in reality, at least personally, or at least personal reality, then I support the idea of free won't as opposed to free will. No investment in anything at all, no exceptions, no participation, no judgment should bring you to a much preferred 0 point of neutrality. Nothing bad, nothing good, just self. Simply an observer of what happens. This sounds like detachment. Like, this is sort of what I do when I'm detaching from the realm. I just don't want to deal with it. He wrote, simply an observer of whatever happens to come your way. Don't seek shit to see, including truth, because all truths are half-truth. So what's the point? It's just filtered through your brain and senses. The world is simply concreted by us, the observers. The major agreement dictates what this place allows and presents. This is filtered through vibrational fields, and people at higher vibrations see the experience better, at least navigate better. If we can learn to discern and not invest attention in reality, we can get a better grasp of self, who we are, what we are, where we are, how we came to be, what our reason for existing is, how we came to exist, etc. Our reality is information and holographic. The lower vibrations are essentially stillness or sleep. Awakening from these vibrations is confusing, just like waking up from a dream, as is the reality a dream, as the old song states. Anything that happens is perceived random, but you have the power to perceive it as how you want. Dream's a weird thing to call it, like, because then what do we call those things when we go to sleep and have dreams? This isn't a dream. You could say it's not a solid reality, or it's a sort of illusion reality, or a simulation, I guess you could say, but it's definitely not a dream. I don't know what it is, but it's interesting. If life is a manifested dream of a Godhead consciousness or something, it doesn't matter, because what's going to happen is going to happen anyways, and I never had any power to affect it, and everything's just another aspect of God anyways. He wrote, perceive it how you want, be it magic or whatever you want to call it. Might can control it via the laws of placebos, but it's still based on the zeros and ones of this matrix manifesting as observed or not observed, or probability wave collapse, solidifying what you're observing, and acceptance solidify into reality. Remember, this reality knows your reactions and choices 7 to 8 seconds before you actually are presented with the stimuli, based on cognitive studies with the mind hooked up to computers and being presented choice and random scare tactics. Perhaps some of us can access that program earlier than 7 to 8 seconds and make that shit be real time, or change it by rewiring it. I think in trance states we can do this. Just my observation of the cause and effect illusions of this place. Think of the germaphobes and hypochondriacs. They make themselves sick. They choose to believe they choose a belief set and gave it power. Amen. I agree with that 1,000%. They do it to themselves. What the mind believes about the body will become the reality for the body. He wrote, seeing reality as a blank canvas, and we as some sort of code scanners, we have the ability to reject codes or ignore thoughts. All thoughts are external. Thoughts are like demons, or just coded into reality for all to access. Thoughts would be akashic. None are owned by us, but belong to all of us, not just one person if we choose. We could just be like, fuck all that noise, which that's what thoughts are, noise, static. We are the tuners of reality. We are manipulated by frequencies to make us dumb down or tune to what those controlling the frequencies want. Hence poison food, cell towers, radio waves, microwaves, all the pollution. We get sucked into those waves and believe that shit and its effects are reality. Some beings realize we are the ones collapsing waves, but need us at a lower vibration to control us so they can have more of the energies in liminal spaces where we are not for themselves. Because they seek power over others, or they lose the ability to create for themselves and need us to do it by sacrificing creating for ourselves. Well, here's what it is. It's the whisperer. That's all it can do. And I say that's all it can do, but that's very powerful for some reason in this reality where everybody thinks the thoughts in their mind are their own. Once you're aware of the whisperer, all he is a little whispering bitch. You're the decision maker. You're actually more powerful than the being that's more powerful than us right now, but we're unaware of it. He wrote, like as a metaphor, if we are eating weeds and rocks and they are eating strawberries, I'm vegan, so consider that when I don't mention eating stuff as lobster instead. The funny thing is, strawberries, weeds, lobsters are the same zeros and ones if we are all one, consciousness or whatever. It's choosing how to materialize that into a reality, assigning a role to it, or agreeing to and accepting thought demons as a reality. We do shit ourselves. Well, you need to accept you as a demon slayer as your reality too. These things exist, absolutely. You need to believe what you are and stand in your own power. They do fold to us. They fear us. They do. They get. They're not stupid, but stand in your fucking power. Remember what you are. Come here, little creature. Let's talk. We do shit ourselves. We do shit to ourselves without realizing it. Tricked into it, perhaps. I don't necessarily think we are all one. I think we are connected. We'd lost the ability to change or reset or modify what we allow and perceive, like Schrodinger's cat thought experiment. I don't know what that is. Schrodinger, maybe? Schrodinger. We are presented with 3 options, alive, dead, or both. There are probably way more options, like the cat turned into a bagel or some weird shit, but those have been filtered out. Again, probability. By eliminating all other possible expectations and setting a mindset and beliefs, you gain control or can limit what the results will be. That was actually very deep if you think about what he just said. To target desired results, we seem to be bred in order to do this for whatever controls us. Yeah, that's why I say you're literally you're plugged into a machine that's made to fuck up at this shit. Like, it created the avatar too. It didn't just if it's a soul trap realm, it created the thing that your soul gets plugged into while you're here too. So it had. That's why people that become conscious or aware of truth on this level, I would say, are extremely powerful creatures. They may not realize it because the mind demon is retarded. You're nothing. You're an amoeba. You're a monkey. Shut the fuck up, you whispering, pathetic. Come here. I forgive you, actually. Come here, little creature. And watch it run off like the little fucking pathetic coward that it is. I get into down states too. I do things like mind garbage, play video games, stuff like that. It does put me in that type of state where these things can come around and affect me, but I can easily turn that around on them real quick. But he wrote, thus creating veils and limiting beliefs and limiting perceptions, like limited speech and controlled word wizardry. If we, I guess, via meditation or Christos rising or whatever the fuck else methods we are led to believe help us, we could potentially regain the choice of allowance or disallowance of what we want in reality. Whether this reality of frequency channel surfing is all there is, or if we're just plugged into it, or Godhead or whatever. If there is something outside this reality, maybe reaching that state, we can close this place down and leave to a true reality, approval or disapproval. That'd be good. If there's a way to destroy this place, I would say we should destroy it. Pax77 replied back to him, are you writing for other people, yourself, both, or neither? And then he put J/C. Just, I don't know what that means. What is JC? I know JK is just kidding, but I don't know what the hell JC is. But anyways, next comment. Shengel wrote, just a quick nitpick here. The mind virus would not be Satan/serpent telling Eve, humanity, to eat the fruit and gain knowledge. It would be the biblical God telling them to not gain knowledge and attempt to keep them ignorantly enslaved. Yeah, I guess that would probably make more sense if you look at, from that perspective. Yeah, it's the god of the realm would be the mind virus, or the original creator. Lucifer would have been like the one that broke the spell and made them think or whatever. But you got to wonder. I would have to experience the ignorance of good and evil to really put the contrast up to the other one and say that one's more evil or one's less evil. I've never experienced. I've always known about good and evil since I was a little baby, or as far back as I can remember. So it's hard for me to compare the two and say the other one's so evil. Maybe living in ignorance was a better existence. Maybe God was right in saying you shouldn't have learned the truth about good and evil. But I'm a truth seeker, so it's like hard for me to even say that. I'm always about seeking truth. But anyways, you are always commanding them to do things that go against their own personal interest for his benefit or only his benefit. If anything, when we look specifically at the biblical God and Satan, God would be the mind virus and Satan would be the opposite, the mind cure, if you will. Anyways, carry on. Yeah, that made sense. It's scary. That scares people away, so taking the stance of, from being honest, it's a scary thought for a lot of people. Even my old Christian brainwashing to a degree. I don't know. Actually, I started reading the Bible again the other day, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. I almost was thinking about doing a Bible study video just to point out the weird things that were said, like how it says the stars were made to rule over us, and blah, blah, blah. There's just a few interesting things I see in there. I was like, oh, it said right here how it's like a simulation, or it's. I'll just do it. I'm gonna probably do it. It'll be interesting after this comment reply or whatever, which is probably pretty long by now, actually, now I think about it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.